But before we get into that, I wanted to just talk about a story that was just released on Bounding Into Comics, and it is pretty interesting, to say the least. And that is that, let me go ahead and move that screen over, that apparently a new rumor is being floated around, that apparently Ben Affleck is rumored to be returning as Batman and will have a showdown with the character of Deathstroke. Now, I just want to make it very clear that this is absolutely in rumor territory, and so take this with a very gigantic grain of salt. However, with everything happening recently with the announcement of the Snyder Cut, hashtag release of Snyder Cut, being confirmed for a 2021 release over on HBO Max, and seeing that everyone's very much riding high on all of this stuff in the DCEU, this wouldn't really surprise me if it turned out to be true, especially since one of the main reasons why Ben Affleck left the role was because he was obviously battling many demons. He wanted to get better. He sought help. He got that help based on everything that we've been hearing, and so maybe he is in a better position now to be able to continue on in the role, and potentially Warner Brothers sees that there is still money in this process as well. So let's go ahead and dive into this rumored story from Bounding Into Comics, this by J.B. Augustin. So it says here, we are getting the Snyder Cut of Justice League in 2021. All the more reason to check out HBO Max, and David Ayer hopes his cut of Suicide Squad may follow. And with AT&T keeping the conversation going on social media, and with anything possible, there's more. The Cultured Nerd posted in an exclusive, AT&T and Warner Brothers just might want Ben Affleck to return to the Cape and Cowl and finish his Batman movie where the Dark Knight was slated to face Deathstroke, played by Joe Manganiello. Hopefully I pronounced that even somewhat close to being right. Now again, this was the original plan early on, was that he was obviously in the DCEU, and that Ben Affleck, being a very talented director, I think all of us can at least give him that much, based on the films that he has made, my favorite of which I think is actually Gone Baby Gone. I think it's a solid film. That he would not only be playing Batman, but also would get his own Batman film. And I was actually very much looking forward to that potential. I was very much looking forward to him being able to take on. I think that it arguably could have been the best Batman with him as Batman in the DCEU. Because as you all know, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder's vision personally, but having him behind the reins could actually have led to something very interesting, especially when you're bringing in characters like Deathstroke. Now, this, of course, remember, is just rumor territory for now. They stated this, so the Cultured Nerd is the source of this rumor. Sources close to the Cultured Nerd have informed us that AT&T and Warner Media want Ben Affleck to return as Batman, and also to resume work to adapt his original script for The Batman that originally featured Batman versus Deathstroke. Now, I'm not a huge brain on the subject. I don't have a lot of experience with the comics themselves. The only thing I really know of Deathstroke would be from what we've already been given in both movies and also television. However, it sounds pretty badass to me. It sounds like you would have two brains that can both fight going at each other, and that is something I know I personally would like to see on the big screen. To support their exclusive, they showed AT&T's Twitter chumming the waters. Tagged in a post inquiring about Affleck's future as Batman, they responded rhetorically, "Who knows what the future holds?" So this is where I start to think, I might say nay to this rumor. I might have questions about this rumor. I might say nay. And the reason why is because they claim to have sources that have told them that Warner Brothers and AT&T are interested. It seems like that makes sense, seeing that they've already greenlit giving, $10 to $20 million to Zack Snyder to finish Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So they're already pretty much kind of putting a lot of money there in the first place. The reaction that has been getting has been mostly positive. Obviously, mainstream outlets are trying to go after those toxic fans. But for the most part, it's been very well received. I think that once HBO Max goes live tomorrow, if they're able to see that their projections are outmatched, they might say and argue, hey, maybe that has a lot to do with the Snyder Cut. Maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that we've already made this announcement. Definitely could be there. It would be interesting to see. Maybe they would put out, different types of surveys and say, hey, is one of the reasons why you've signed up for this service because of X, Y, or Z, and have one of those listed as the Snyder Cut announcement. And I guarantee you that probably would get checked off more so than one might think. However, the evidence, the so-called evidence they use, other than claiming they have sources, and we all know everyone has sources these days, everyone claims to have sources. However, their evidence that they try and show, other than, of course, talking about who their sources are, is to say, well, look at AT&T's Twitter. Now, AT&T has been doing some pretty cool things on Twitter. First off, shout out to the president, Abu Nas. Shout out to you, good sir, because his tweet actually got some attention from AT&T, and that was freaking awesome. But to use what they're doing here, the cultured nerd, to try and say that because of their recent Twitter activity, that this somehow confirms their sources, again, seems a little bit too far-fetched for me. So some of the tweets they're talking about are, of course, people reaching out to AT&T. One thing after the announcement, will it be possible to see Ben Affleck as Batman in other future films? AT&T responded, who knows what the future holds? Who knows who will answer the call? So some might say, oh, look, they're teasing that he's coming back. And then I look at that and I say, you could argue that. You could also argue that they're teasing someone else might take up the cape and call instead. Someone else responds, right? Yo, man, AT&T just liked your tweet. They were saying the same thing about the Snyder Cut being on HBO Max. Look at us now. And then AT&T responded, we're full of surprises. Once again, this doesn't really confirm anything that they're saying, but they are using it as a part of their overall argument. So, that is a bit of the news. So again, breaking rumor here. Again, just a rumor. Ben Affleck set to return as Batman for Showdown with Deathstroke. But as we all know, there were rumors going around about the Snyder Cut. AT&T and everyone was kind of playing around with that a little bit. And sure enough, things began to be confirmed by Zack Snyder himself. And we are getting it in 2021, barring any production delays or anything like that. So we could be seeing this. Who knows? And now a huge shout out to my May Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weeder Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunker Chunker Funker Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Kenneth Camiel, Lady T, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, The DJD Show, and Tina B. Thank you all for being my Patreon members, and a shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps: John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, and ZK Man. And a special shout out to David Bobrizik and Edgardo Martinez. I'm going to leave that pause there just in case anyone decides to join for the month of May, because you can indeed join on Patreon or Subscribe Star at any time this month to be eligible for any of the perks. They include access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John, the Flick Pick of John Flickinger's fame, so make sure you go ahead and check that out at the $10 and up level. Also, if you Subscribe Star or Patreon at $5 or up, you have access to exclusive giveaways of 4K movies, digital films, and a bunch of other stuff in between as well. And if anything, you could at least give just anything that you really want to help support the channel, and it would really help me out a lot. It keeps the lights on, makes me able to continue to do this kind of stuff. So anything you possibly give, check out some more information in the description of the Patreon, Subscribe Star, and of course YouTube membership links as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.